You know, we live in a world that loves to talk about love, but rarely takes the time to understand it. We use the word so loosely. I love my car, I love that show, I love pizza. But when it comes to loving people, truly, deeply, and selflessly, that's where most of us struggle. I once met an elderly man at a hospital who told me something I'll never forget. His wife had Alzheimer's, and she hadn't remembered his name in 7 years. Yet every morning he'd come to feed her breakfast, hold her hand, and talk to her like she was the love of his life, because she was. I asked him, "Why do you keep coming if she doesn't even know who you are?" He smiled and said, "Because I still know who she is." That moment taught me, love isn't about how much you get. It's about how much you give, even when it hurts. So tonight, I want to share 5 truths that teach the real meaning of love. We live in a time where most people love for the benefit, not for the bond. We walk into relationships thinking, A, what can I get from this? E, instead of A, what can I give? E, but love that's built on expectation crumbles the moment those expectations aren't met. True love doesn't demand, it understands. It looks past words, past flaws, past the walls people build to protect their pain. It listens when silence speaks louder than sound. Understanding means taking the time to see someone's heart before judging their behavior. It's realizing that the person who snaps at you might be carrying a storm you know nothing about. That the quiet ones often have the loudest battles inside. When you choose to understand, you choose compassion over criticism, patience over pride. Real love doesn't keep score, it seeks peace. It doesn't walk away when things get hard, it leans in. Because when you love with understanding, you create space for growth, healing, and trust. That's the kind of love that doesn't fade, it strengthens. It's the kind of love that doesn't say, hey, I'll love you if he, but E, I'll love you through. And that's where the real meaning of love begins. Love will always demand something from you. It's not free, not easy, not convenient. It costs your time, your patience, sometimes your pride, because real love isn't proven when things are good. It's tested when things get hard. You can't say you love someone and still choose yourself every single time. Love means showing up even when you're tired, forgiving even when you're right, and holding on even when the world tells you to let go. Think about a parent working 2 jobs just to keep food on the table. They don't do it for applause, they do it out of love. Or the partner who stays up night after night, caring for someone who's sick, not because they have to, but because their heart won't let them leave. That's sacrifice. That's love in action. The truth is, love without sacrifice is just convenience dressed as care. And too often we want the beauty of love without the burden it carries. But the moments you give, the moments you bend, the moments you choose someone else over yourself, those are the moments that define love. Because love that costs nothing changes nothing, but love that sacrifices transforms everything. Forgiveness is one of the hardest parts of love, because it asks you to let go when every part of you wants to hold on. It's easy to say, I forgive, when the wound is small, but when someone shatters your trust, forgiveness feels impossible. Yet that's where real love begins, not in perfection, but in mercy. Love that forgives doesn't excuse the pain, it releases it. It says, I choose peace over bitterness. Hey, when you hold on to anger, you're not punishing the other person, you're imprisoning yourself. The weight of resentment only grows heavier with time, but forgiveness, even when it's not deserved, frees you to heal. There was once a woman who forgave the man who took her son's life. People called her crazy, but she said, if I don't forgive him, I'll lose myself too. That kind of strength doesn't come from weakness. It comes from love that refuses to hate. Forgiveness doesn't erase the past, but it writes a better future. It's not about letting someone off the hook. It's about setting your heart free. Because love that forgives is love that endures. It's not justice that heals us, it's grace. Love isn't just a feeling, it's a choice you make every single day. Feelings fade, they change with the seasons, but action remains. Anybody can say I love you when everything's easy. But love is proven when it's inconvenient, when it hurts, when you have every reason to walk away but choose to stay. Love doesn't live in words, it lives in what you do when nobody's watching. Think about it. The parent who wakes up at 3 a.m. to comfort a crying child, that's love. The friend who shows up when you're at your lowest, even when they're struggling too, that's love. The partner who listens when it's easier to argue, who forgives when it's easier to blame, that's love in motion. Love is not about grand gestures, it's about consistent effort. See, emotion might start the story, but action is what keeps it alive. The real test of love isn't in how you feel when things are good. It's how you behave when everything falls apart. Because true love doesn't just speak, it shows. It doesn't promise, it approves. A love isn't a moment of passion. It's a lifetime of practice. Before love can change anyone around you, it has to change you first. Real love starts on the inside. It breaks down your pride, softens your heart, and teaches you humility. It forces you to see your flaws, your fears, your selfishness, and challenges you to rise above them. Because love isn't about control or perfection, it's about transformation. When you learn to love, truly love, you start seeing people differently. You start seeing yourself differently. Love teaches patience when you want to rush, compassion when you want to judge, and strength when you want to quit. It molds you into someone capable of giving without keeping score, of forgiving without conditions, of caring without limits. You can't pour light into someone else's life if your own heart is dark with resentment. That's why love begins as an inside job. When love changes you, it changes how you speak, how you move, how you live. You stop reacting and start responding. You stop competing and start connecting. That's the power of love. It doesn't just touch others, it transforms everything it passes through. Because when love lives in you, it can't help but overflow into the world around you. Love is not a fairy tale. It's a commitment. It's showing up, forgiving, sacrificing, giving, and growing. It's not something you find, it's something you build every single day. So if you ever wonder what love really means, remember that old man in the hospital. Love isn't about being remembered. It's about remembering why you're here. To give, to serve, and to love, no matter what.